Okay, so we're recording now. So today's recipe is a tandoori chicken with roasted vegetable couscous. Now, of course, some of you may be vegetarian or vegan and therefore will have taken the vegetarian or vegan option. That's also fine. So I detailed in the recipe that if you weren't using chicken, you could use an alternative quantity of things like cauliflower cut into small chunks, pepper, aubergine, perhaps some mushrooms. So just a nice medley of, or courgette, so a really nice medley of vegetables to substitute the chicken if you're not making that. Of course, if you're doing a vegan version, then you'll need to substitute the yogurt, obviously, with a non-dairy version as well. But I'm sure you're aware of that, and you'll have purchased the necessary ingredients. So you should all have the ingredients list, obviously, prior to today, as well as the equipment list. The idea is that many of you will have already prepped the ingredients to make the session run as smoothly as possible, so we're not waiting for people to chop. But I also appreciate people have really busy lives. So some of you may have joined last minute or just got in the house. Please don't panic. As I say, I will be recapping a number of times. So if you miss any step at all, please don't worry. I will go back to those steps and recap as we go. I have done a little bit of prep beforehand, but as I say, I'll talk you through what I've done. So we're up to now 30 people. So I think without further ado, let's get started. I should just say as well, we're in the month of Ramadan now. So I think it's day 13, 12 or 13, I lose count, but it just flies by. So at about, actually, I'll just have a quick look. So today, 6:27. So the fast opens at 6:27 this evening. So of course, we'll still be on this cookalong at that time. So I will just take a very short break just to have a sip of water and maybe a date to break my fast. And then I'll eat with the family later on what we're making this evening. I would suggest that in total, we'll be finished approximately 7 p.m. Okay. So let's just have a quick look. So just give me a wave if you're doing the chicken version this evening. Okay, so as I thought, that's most of you. And anyone doing a vegetarian or anyone doing a vegetarian version? Okay, yeah, so a couple of people. And anyone doing a vegan version of this? Looks like maybe one person I can see waving there. Okay, great. So we've got the full spectrum covered, which is nice. Some of you might want to do both. If you're feeling really clever, then you might want to do half and half and do half chicken and half veggies, maybe just to get us a selection going. And I can see again, Joe's nodding her head. So great job, Joe, for doing that. So the very first thing that we need to do for this recipe is we need to get the oven on, please. So if you can pop the oven on, so the 200 degrees Celsius, so that's, or the highest setting it'll go. So at 200 degrees Celsius, that's fan. So that would be 220 degrees Celsius, just a regular oven. But if you have a fan oven, if you could set that at 200 degrees C, that would be great. And we'll leave that just to preheat whilst I show you what to prepare for the vegetables. The first thing we'll be putting in the oven is the beetroot. So if you're using beetroot, so you've got fresh raw beetroot, you just need to chop those into small chunks and pop them in a tray on a bit of tin foil and just drizzle it ever so slightly with a bit of oil of choice, so olive oil or rapeseed oil. And that will be the first thing we'll put in the oven because they'll take longer than the other vegetables we're making. Whilst that's in, we'll then marinate. I'll show you how to marinate the chicken or the vegetables. And then they'll go in shortly after. And then that'll all be cooking away whilst we're making the couscous, which is the easiest and quickest thing to make. Give me a wave if you've made your own couscous at home before. Okay, great. So a few people. So those of you who've made it before will know just how quick and easy it is. For those of you who haven't made it before, it's going to be a bit of a revelation, really, because I know you can buy it pre-made in packets, but obviously that has more preservatives. So if you can get fresh couscous and make it, 10 minutes, it's done. The only difference then is what you decide to add to it afterwards, and therefore the roasted vegetables give it a nice extra flavor. All right. So I'm going to put the counter down. The camera down here on the counter. If at any point, can you hear me nice and clear, loud and clear, everybody? Great. So if I just pop the camera down here. So what you see in this tray I've got a bunch of beetroot, so just a regular bunch of beetroot I bought from Morrison's earlier. I've just cut it into probably 1 to 1.5 centimeter chunks, or diced into the bottom of this tray, lined with a bit of foil, and just drizzled it with a tiny little bit of oil. Okay, I'm going to pop that in the oven then. Don't worry if it's not fully preheated. We'll pop that in the oven. I'll set the timer so you don't need to worry about it. This will probably take about 30-40 minutes. It may take less depending on how small or large you cut the chunks. But partway through, we'll be adding the other vegetables as well. So we'll put everything into this one tray. So hopefully, as you can see, I've got quite a bit of space here. So a nice large tray is what you need. So I'm going to go into the oven with that. Okay, so that's beetroot into the oven then. So the next thing I want to show you then is the marination of the main ingredient here. So now I've already pre-marinated the chicken here, but I'm going to talk you through the process so that you can do it whilst we're online. So don't worry if you haven't already done that. In an ideal world, you'd marinate this and leave it for a good sort of maybe 15-20 minutes. You can even leave it as long as overnight in the fridge. The longer you leave it, the more the flavors will infuse into the chicken. Of course, you could use fish if you wanted to do that next time, or prawns. If you're doing vegetables, you can do exactly the same. The longer you leave it, the more the flavor will penetrate into those veggies. But let's go through this process now. So obviously, I'm going to talk you through it. So in terms of the recipe then, the first thing you need to pop in here, if you're doing the chicken version, and this is for about maybe 3 to 4 people, are 3 chicken breasts cut into small chunks, or the mixture of vegetables cut into small chunks. So the cauliflower, the pepper, the mushrooms, the aubergine. You could even do a mix if you want to, but that's what I've got into here. And then into that, I added 3 tablespoons of plain natural yogurt. Okay. And also approximately 1 tablespoon of ginger and garlic paste, or you can use fresh garlic cloves, like 3 cloves crushed and maybe an inch of fresh ginger grated in, but the equivalent of a tablespoon of ginger and garlic paste. And then once you've got the yogurt and the ginger and garlic paste in, give it a really good mix to coat everything in that bowl nicely with the yogurt and the ginger and garlic before we add any of the other ingredients. So I'll just give that, just give you a couple of minutes for that. I'll just say whilst you're doing that is, and I'm sure you're all fully aware of this, but if any time you're handling raw meat, please do make sure that you thoroughly wash your hands with soap and hot water before handling any other utensils, please, or ingredients. So we can now start going in with some of the spices. So we can add into this 2 tablespoons of tandoori masala powder. Now, I've got this version here. So this is East End. Many of you will have got the same brand there, but you can buy it from any major supermarket or any South Asian supermarket you might have close to you. There are a number of different brands, as I say. This is one's East End, there's Raja, there's many others here. But you need 2 tablespoons of tandoori masala. Now, if you look on the back of the packet, this ready-made mix has got a mixture of lots of different spices. But one of the main things, apart from flavor, it does is it adds a nice color. So it gives you that nice tandoori color to your chicken or your vegetables. Unfortunately, in restaurants, quite often they do use red food coloring to get that shocking bright red color that you're probably all fully au fait with. But I like to try and stay away from those false sort of additives, as it were. So tandoori masala is probably the best thing you can use. So 2 tablespoons of tandoori masala powder. You also need to add in 2 level teaspoons of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin powder. I will recap this. You can also refer back to your recipe list if you've got that in front of you. 1.5 teaspoons of ground coriander powder. 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and the red chili powder, I've put in 1 teaspoon. That will make it quite a medium to hot spice. So if you want it milder, then maybe just put in maybe 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of red chili powder. If you like your food spicier, then anything up to 1 teaspoon will make it really quite a kick to it. So I'll just recap those spices. So it's 2 tablespoons of tandoori masala powder, 2 level teaspoons of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin powder, 1.5 teaspoons of ground coriander powder, a teaspoon of ground black pepper, and up to 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. Once you've got all that in, then you can then give it another thorough mix and make sure everything's really nicely coated in those spices. And then the final 2 things you need to add into the marinade are the juice of half a lemon. You could use lime if you prefer. So squeeze in the juice of half a lemon, just making sure you catch any seeds before they drop in, or just pick them out if that's too late. And then again, optional, I guess, but 1 green chili finely chopped. And again, obviously that'll add quite a stronger spice flavor. So then we're just giving it all a really thorough mix to make sure every bit of your main ingredient, be that the chicken or the veggies, are nicely coated in that marinade. And then we can just leave that to the side for a minute, or maybe 10 minutes, just whilst that infuses, the flavors infuse. All right. I'm just going to check the chat function. Okay, that's fine. It was Lena saying mix of vegetarian and not. All right, that's okay. So whilst people are just finishing off marinating their main ingredient and putting that to one side, I'll just say that basically I put into the chat function earlier the Just Giving page, and that's for Medical Aid for Palestinians. I've just put it into the chat function again. I know many of you have donated already, so I wouldn't expect people to keep donating every time. But if you want to, then please do go onto there and you can make your donations this evening or after this evening. It'll remain open for a number of weeks yet. But if you can remember to do it tonight, that would be fantastic. Really easy way to give. And if you go onto the Medical Aid for Palestinians website, it will give you a breakdown of how much money you donate, what that can contribute to, in terms of kind of a donation list, if you like. In terms of £10 will do this, £20 will do this, and so on and so forth. So that's in there if you wish to do that. Okay. So I'm going to move this to one side. Yes, of course I will. So Lena's just asked me to list the spices going in again. Not a problem at all. So I put in 2 tablespoons of tandoori masala powder, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin powder, 1.5 teaspoons of ground coriander powder, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and up to 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. I've just popped into the chat function the ingredients list for the marinade. All right, so you've got everything there. So as well as the measurements for the spices, you've got everything you need to make that marinade for the future. What I'll also do, as I say, I'll be uploading this to YouTube. So when that goes on there, you can follow it through again. But all the details are on that list now for you. So your main ingredient should be marinated and ready to go. What we're going to do now then is we're going to just take the beetroot out of the oven in about 5 minutes, not just yet. And we'll add the rest of the vegetables to the pan, and then we'll let those cook away. All right. So I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes so people can play catch up or just do what they need to. Just give me a thumbs up if you've managed to get your main ingredient marinated and it's ready. Okay, that's fine. A couple of people shaking their heads, still going. Not a problem at all. Take your time. Whilst we're just doing that, then why don't I say a quick hello to a couple of people? So let me say hello to Ingrid. Hi, Ingrid. How are you? You can take yourself off mute if you'd like to come on and say hi.
My father passed away this spring.
Hi.
Hi, Ingrid. How are you?
Yes, very well.
Thank you so much for joining in this evening.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It was a very nice experience, the very first one that we had last time. So we decided to join again.
Thank you. And remind me, whereabouts are you?
We are in England. I am in Dorset, in the area of Dorset. I am originally from Uruguay.
Amazing, amazing.
Yes.
And is that your partner, husband, who's...
Yes, it's Adrian, my husband.
Hello.
Hi, what's your name, sorry?
Adrian.
Adrian, did you say?
Yes, I did, yes.
Nice to meet you too, Adrian.
A pleasure.
And you too.
And so who's I'm going to potentially ask you something contentious now, but who's the lead chef in your kitchen?
I think we have to say we're joint equals.
You see, that's the right answer, Adrian, every time. Yeah, perfect. Well, look, have you ever made anything like this before?
Not this recipe, no. I've never done a tandoori before, no.
And the experience of following someone guiding you through Zoom is new for both of us. But we were dearly wanting to participate in something helping Palestine, and we like to cook, so here we are.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear. And thank you for joining in again. I'm glad you're enjoying learning how to cook as well. And hopefully it'll turn out great. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Dave is just asking how long has the beetroot been in the oven? So the beetroot's been in maybe sort of, I'd say probably 5 to 10 minutes so far. So if you haven't got to that point already, if you want to pop that in the oven, just to give it a bit of a head start, because the beetroot will take longer than the other vegetables that we're using, then that would be great. Let me say a quick hello to one more person whilst everyone's just finishing off their marinade. So Leah Brown, how are you?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. Glad you could make it. Are you, I can see you got a few people cooking with you, have you, this evening?
Yeah. Got my partner. Yeah, there's a whole family here, to be honest.
And have you done one of these with me before?
Yeah, I think this is like our 4th one.
Amazing. So it sounds like you're enjoying them.
Yeah, really good. I did one with my grandma a couple of, I think, was it the last time when we did the chicken mousse khan? My grandma's actually from Palestine. My grandma's Palestinian, so obviously we're kind of all pro-Palestine here. Yeah, and she really enjoyed it. So, but she didn't quite get it at first. She was like, I could do this with my eyes closed. I was like, no, I know, Grandma. Not the point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, that's good to be able to show off a little bit what you can do. That's not a problem. So what's been your favorite so far that we've done together?
Probably that one, the chicken mousse khan. That was really nice. And we cooked it again, actually, when my sister came round for some food. We cooked it again. It was really good.
Good. That's always a great thing to do. So if you do something new for the first time, to do it again in very quick succession is always good to kind of then embed that in your memory. So that's wonderful to hear. Well, look, thank you for joining again. Hopefully you're going to have a great time with your family and friends. So enjoy this one.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll come around and say hello to a couple more people in a little while, if that's okay. And let's move on to the rest of the recipe. For those of you who are still marinating ingredients, don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to play catch up. Because what we're going to be doing next is going to take a little bit of time anyway. All right. So I'm going to put the camera just back down on the counter here. Okay. So I'm just going to very quickly check on the beetroot just to see how that's coming along. So as you can see, the beetroot has just started to release some of its color. So it's just only been in sort of 5 or 10 minutes. So it's still quite firm. All right. But at this stage, we can go in with all of our other vegetables into that bowl. That's all the vegetables for the roasted vegetable couscous. All right. So just to recap, in here is 1 large pepper somewhere under there. I've used the red one, cut into medium chunks. I've got 1 red onion, just cut into chunks as well, or sliced. Some cherry tomatoes. These were quite large ones, so I have halved them, but if they're smaller, you can leave them whole. And 1 courgette, again, cut into small chunks. So try and get them all a similar sort of size, and they can then all go into the tray along with the beetroot. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to move the beetroot over to this side a little bit more. And then all the other veggies on the other side, because then I've got a good idea of what's cooking at what time. All right, so there we go, beetroot over there, everything else over here. There we go. Okay, so that's it. Spread the rest out. Now, what I'd like to do is just drizzle the rest of those veggies with a bit of olive oil. I'm actually using some rapeseed oil here. Not much, probably about a tablespoon in total for all of those veggies, like so. And then we can pop that back into the oven at the same setting that it's already on. All right, so just to recap that then. So in here, I've got the beetroot. I've added to that a good handful of cherry tomatoes, which I've halved. I've added one large courgette cut into chunks, a large red onion cut into chunks, and also a large red pepper. You can use any color pepper, really. I just like to use red for it's like adding more color to the dish. Again, just cut into similar sized chunks. So we're going to get that back into the oven now. All right, the same setting, so 200 degrees fan, and that will now just cook away, and we'll leave those to cook until we're ready to use them. Okay. So Jade's saying, I'm so sorry I'm late. I've got time wrong, so I'm just unpacking the shop here. Right, okay. Yeah, Jade, you might be playing a bit of catch up there then. But if you can literally follow the recipe for the marinade, I don't know if you're using chicken or veggies. Where are you, Jade, actually? Do you want to come on and say a quick hi?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you. Yeah,
Oh, I'm
I
so
can hear you.
sorry.
That's all right.
I completely got the times wrong. Hi, everyone. I'm just chopping my veggies. I haven't marinated the chicken yet. But I have made something like this very similar, so I've got a bit of a rough idea of what I'm doing. So
Great.
I'll catch up.
No problem. So just to say, Jade, so yeah, if you're doing the veggies, yeah, great idea. Get those in the oven, and then
Yep.
you've got a bit of time then to marinate your. Are you using chicken?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you just follow the list what I put in there,
Yes.
it's
Yep.
pretty much just chuck everything in together and mix it up, really. But I like to add
Thank
the
you.
yogurt and the garlic and ginger paste, so the wetter ingredients, to mix that through slightly first, and then add everything else.
And then add everything else. Okay. Thank
Right,
you.
that's all we've done so far. So you're great.
Thank you.
Thank
Hi,
you.
everyone.
Virtual hello from everyone back, I think.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay, so I think what we'll do now then is let's get started with the couscous, because it does take a little bit of time to get the first elements going. So what I'm going to do is put the camera back down on the counter here. Here we go. And you just need a relatively large pan like this. So a high-sided saute pan, or you could use a saucepan or a frying pan or a wok. Anything that's got a good amount of surface area, though, that will hold a good quantity. Because as you cook the couscous, that will swell and it will grow in volume. All right. So there's no heat on there under there just at the moment. I'm just going to show you, talk you through what you need, and I'm also going to pop that in to the chat function so you can refer back to this as we're going through. So let me just do that quickly first. There we go. So those are the remaining ingredients for the rest of the recipe. Of course, the first few ingredients of the vegetables are in the oven. So where it says approximately 200 grams of couscous uncooked downwards, those are the ingredients we're now going to use to make the couscous. Okay. So what I like to do then is pop the gas on under your pan, just on a sort of medium heat, and we're going to go in with a couple of tablespoons of rapeseed oil or vegetable oil or olive oil of your choice. We do need a good amount to nicely coat the pan so that we've got enough oil there to cook in. All right, and then just give that a bit of a swirl around to coat the bottom of the pan. Okay, you're just going to give that a minute or so, not even that really, just to heat up before we add in the other aspects. So just give that a minute before we carry on. And what should we just well, no, we'll do that in a minute. I'm going to talk to you about the chicken or the veggies, but we'll do that in a second so it's not getting too confusing. Okay, so into the pan then, I'd like to go in with 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. All right, so whole cumin seeds into the pan. Yeah, 1 teaspoon can go in. Like so. Put that away. And they're just going to start to pop and sizzle and crackle in the bottom and the fizz in the bottom of the pan pretty quickly. And so then what I'd like to do is to go in with 3 cloves of garlic, which hopefully you've got ready. If you haven't, then you can do that. So 3 cloves of garlic that I've got here, just thinly sliced. They can go into the pan. Just the garlic. And of course, we don't want the garlic to burn. So I'm just going to give that a bit of a stir and just give that 30 seconds or so. Just the top tip, hopefully you'll join in more of these cook-alongs. And if you do, and if you have time, always better to try and have things chopped and ready to go. It just makes everything run a little bit smoother. I know it's not always possible, but if you can, then that's brilliant. So the next thing then, 3 to 4 spring onions that you've got chopped. It doesn't matter if they're not very finely chopped, but chopped nonetheless. Or the white and the green of the onion can go in. Like so. And again, a little bit of a mix. Okay, so that's mixed in. And then finally, a 1 green pepper. You can use any color, but I've gone green because I've gone red with the roasted veggies, so just a bit of contrast in color. 1 green pepper cut into approximately 1 centimeter chunks and go in. So let me just recap what's gone into this pan so far. So we started off with approximately 2 tablespoons of rapeseed oil I'm using, but you can use any oil of choice. I then added in a teaspoon of whole cumin seeds, let those fizz for a few seconds. Then I added in 3 cloves of garlic, thinly sliced, cook those for about 20 to 30 seconds. Then I added in 3 to 4 spring onions, finely chopped or as finely as you can, and then 1 green pepper cut into chunks as well. So that's everything that's in that pan at the moment. Just give me a thumbs up if you're still with me and that's okay. Not going too fast, hopefully. Okay, it's always really difficult to go at the right pace for everybody when I'm doing these, which is why I always try and recap as many times as I can. I would urge you to please pop into the chat function or just give me a virtual or an actual wave if you are behind and you want anything clarifying. Please don't be afraid to do that. It's a safe environment to ask any question. No such thing as a silly question, I promise you. So if you have any questions or you want anything recapping, then just feel free and comfortable to do so. At the end of the day, we want you to be enjoying this dish nicely with family and friends, or on your own, whichever, at the end of the session. Okay. So now what we're going to do is into this pan, we're going to add approximately 300 milliliters of vegetable stock. All right. So I've got that already mixed up here. So I'm going to add that straight into the pan. Like so. And I've still got this on a medium heat, everybody, all right? So we're just going to give that a bit of a stir. Just leaving it on a medium heat. Like that. And then in a few seconds, we're going to go in with the couscous. So I've got some here from Morrison's, just regular couscous. The recipe I've put in there is approximately 200 grams of couscous, all right? Now, you'll see me putting in more because I'm making extra, but don't get confused by that. If you just follow the recipe that's on there, if you're cooking for the quantity I've put on the recipe, then 200 grams of couscous can go into the pan. So let's do that now then. I like to measure it out like in a large mug, really. A good large mug is approximately right. There you go, like so. And then at this point now, I would like to just turn the heat off under the pan. That's right, turn the heat off under the pan and give it a really good mix to get all that couscous coated in that stock and those veggies mixed through. And this is where, if you've never made couscous before, this is where the magic happens, really. So remember what it looks like. So it should look quite wet and soggy, really, at the moment in there. So the heat is off. I'm going to pop the lid on, and we're going to give that 10 minutes. And in about 10 minutes, you'll have couscous ready to go. We'll then just add in all the other ingredients that we need to add. And that'll be your couscous ready, believe it or not. That's how easy and quick it is. So those last few steps that I did was after the pepper, I added in approximately 300 milliliters of vegetable stock. You could use any stock, I guess, but I use vegetable stock. And then I turned the heat off and added the 200 grams of uncooked couscous into the pan. I give it a good mix and then the lid on. So the heat's off now and the lid on. And that will take about 10 minutes and that should be ready. All right. Anyone got any questions? Not just yet. So what I want to do is I do want to get the chicken or the vegetables into the oven as well. So that can all be cooking now at the same time. So I'm going to put the camera back down here on the counter. So I've got another tray here, again, just lined with some foil paper. Foil, sorry. There we go, like so. And just like to get all of your chicken or vegetables and just evenly spread that out onto the tray. Now, if you wanted to, you could do this. You could skewer this, the veggies or the chicken, put it onto skewers. But I just like to have it all in the bottom of the tray like so. Try and keep it as much as a single layer as possible. I'm making extras, you can see. But just try and keep it in a single layer. That way it cooks evenly. But we do want all this amazing marinade taken out and put over the top of it. So if you've got like a silicone spatula or something, that's the best thing to get every last bit of marinade out of the bowl, off the spoon and into the pan. All right. So that goes in. And then all of that marinade, let's get all that in too. Now, what will happen is, as this cooks, the moisture content in the yogurt will allow it to almost steam a little bit as well. But then as that yogurt evaporates and kind of dries out, then obviously the chicken will start to dry out. So we'll keep an eye on that to make sure that if we need to add a little splash of water at any point to keep that steaming process going, then that would be fantastic. Now, the other thing as well to say is that this is a great recipe, this chicken. I'm just going to do that and then I'll just quickly wash my hands. But this is a great recipe to use for the barbecue for when we get round to that weather. So if you skewered this chicken or your veggies on and put it straight onto a barbecue, that would be amazing as well. It tastes fantastic. Okay. And then just a final thing is a gentle drizzle of oil, just enough to kind of cover just over the top like so. And then we can whack that in the oven, either above or below the veggies, wherever you've got space, and we'll leave that to cook as well. Okay, so hopefully you've now got your chicken or your vegetables into the oven. Joe's saying which veg should be in the oven? Red onion, beetroot, pepper, courgette. Yes, so Joe, the roast vegetables, so all of that. So the beetroot, the courgette, the red onion, the pepper, and also the cherry tomatoes if you're using those. All right, so all of those will be in one tray. We obviously started the beetroot cooking a little bit earlier just because it takes a little bit longer to cook. So they're in now. The chicken or your vegetables, whichever you're using, are now also in the oven. All right, they're going to take about 20 minutes to half an hour. If you're doing chicken, you're going to take about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how big or small you cut those pieces of chicken. You could do this if you like chicken on the bone, you could do that as well, but that would take slightly longer. So it just depends on what you like. But using boneless pieces just makes it cook a little bit quicker. We've obviously got the couscous cooking. So that's going to have had 5 minutes. We're going to give that another 5 minutes. And then we're just going to finish off with all the other bits that we need to add in. So as you'll see from the recipe, if you haven't already prepped those bits, you can do that now. So 1 green chili, just finely chopped. You need a tomato, a large sort of tomato, finely chopped. You'll need 1 can of chickpeas. All of these are optional, by the way. You can add or take away whatever you like. I'm using a small handful, so maybe 15 to 20 pitted green or black olives, just cut into halves. We'll use the juice and zest of 1 lemon. We'll season it with salt and pepper. And then, again, optional, but I like to use a combination of a handful of chopped coriander leaves and chopped mint leaves towards the end. If you don't like coriander, because some people don't, you can use parsley and mint, or you can leave the herbs out altogether. You can use dill, whatever you like, really. Whatever herbs you like, you can put in. That's not a problem. Which reminds me, I need to just open my can of chickpeas. I shall be back with you in a second. So I'll just quickly open that up whilst we're waiting. You'll probably start to see some activity or hear some activity in the background here shortly, because we're now about 10 minutes away from breaking our fast. So people will be pottering around the background, just getting some things together for us to start eating. So that's quite normal here. Okay. Okay, everyone. So I reckon another sort of 2 or 3 minutes and the couscous should be good. Don't be tempted to take the lid off just yet. If ever you, a top tip, by the way, if ever you don't have a lid for the utensil that you're using, you can just cover it with some foil or some cling film. That's fine. Or any baking sheet, as long as it's kind of covered so that that couscous absorbs all the moisture from the vegetable stock. Right. What do we need to get? No, you just go ahead. I mean, I'll just get a date and that's it, really. That'll be enough for me. Get me started. What do you need? Yeah, go for it. No, shot, I think. Hi everyone. Okay, so we were just pottering, getting a few bits together in the back there. So I think I've just missed the last step. Can you repeat, please? So Leah, yeah. So what we did, was that with the chicken or with the couscous? The couscous, yeah. So the last step for that, after the pepper, was to add in the vegetable stock. So approximately 300 milliliters of the vegetable stock, and then 200 grams of couscous, and then turn the heat off, give it a stir, and then cover it with a lid for 10 minutes. All right, so that's all you need to do. And then after 10 minutes, you're going to see in a minute, as if by magic, it will be ready. So I make that 10 minutes actually. So let's just have a quick look at what's going on in the pan here. And don't worry if it needs a bit longer, that's fine. Where's my spoon gone? So if I just take the lid off there. Okay. So you can see there, if I just use the back of my spoon and just give it a little move like that, you can see that those all that water has now been absorbed, and we've got beautiful fluffy couscous. Look at that. Look at that. All those grains should be pretty much separated. They shouldn't be in clumps. If it is, like I've got a couple here, that's fine. Just break it down with the back of the spoon. And really, that's what we're looking at. Look at that. Looks amazing, and it'll taste brilliant. So what we're just going to do now with this is just to finish it off, really. So with all the other ingredients, you just toss them all in now. So we're going to go in with the tomato and the green chili and the olives. Okay. So I'll show you those. We've got the tomato chopped, the green chili and the olives. As I say, the green chili is optional because that will add quite a kick. And this will also add a little bit of moisture back. Oh, we've got an olive. I'll put it in the bin now. But this will also add a little bit of moisture back into the pan. All right, so just give that a good mix through. If you are using the green chilies, do make sure that they're evenly mixed through the couscous. Otherwise, someone will just get like a big mouthful of chili, and they won't thank you for it. So that's that. So in there went a tomato finely chopped, a green chili, and I'm using black olives, pitted and chopped, cut in half, or you could use green olives. And then we also want to add it in a tin of drained chickpeas. All right, they can go in like so. There we are. And again, just give those a little mix through, like so. Okay, so that's that. We then want to add the zest and juice of half a lemon. All right. So I'm going to just do that as well. So I've got a little, well, let's do the juice first. And just what I'm doing here is just catching the seeds in my hand as I'm squeezing it. That way you don't get all those seeds or pips, whatever you want to call them, in there. So look, they've now all been captured there, so we can discard those. And then just grate in the zest. You can do a coarse grate or a fine grate, whichever you prefer. Oh, don't want that seed to go in there. Quite a big lemon, this one. There we go. Get all of that out of there. Give that another mix through like so. And you're just adding, couscous is such a great vehicle for flavor. So the more flavor you can add to this, the more it will come to life. All right. If you don't add flavor to it, it will just taste bland. So those cumin seeds that we added, even right at the start, you're adding layers of flavor right from the beginning. Okay. And then finally, we want to season. So we need a good sprinkling of salt. Bearing in mind that the stock will also have had salt content, so don't go crazy with the salt. By the way, if you have never used blackthorn salt, you've got to try some. It's absolutely amazing. Look at those crystals of salt there. If you look up blackthorn salt, and you see how they make it, you'll be fascinated by the process. So I'd encourage you to get some of that if you haven't used that before. And then finally, a really good grinding of pepper goes in. Probably almost a good, we love pepper, so I'm going to put in almost a full teaspoon of it, if not more, and then give it a mix. Add a little bit more. There you go. That's your salt and pepper. And then finally, I've got here a small handful of coriander leaves and mint leaves. So I'm just going to roughly chop those up, and we'll add those in as well. I'm just going to kind of roll them up into a little neat bunch, and then just give it a little bit of a chop. As I say, you don't have to use mint and coriander. You could use any combination of herbs, really. Parsley's great. Dill would be nice. Whatever you fancy, or a combination of all of them. Just don't overpower it though with too many herbs. They can go in. And just look at the colour now that you're getting in that pan. I think you're going to love this, by the way. If you've never made couscous before, or if you've never made anything like this one before, this is just going to be your go-to midweek recipe, seriously. You've seen how quickly, albeit obviously preparation aside, and even that doesn't take too long, just a little bit of chopping. And if you can do that the night before, then seriously, when you're putting it into the pan, it's like, well, you saw it, it was 10 minutes, wasn't it? And now we're just mixing through the other aspects of it. So that's it. All right. So there you have your your couscous, which we're obviously yet going to add the veggies to as well to make it a roasted vegetable couscous. So that's going to be even more volume, yeah. So there's going to be more than enough there, I'm sure. If there's 3 or 4 of you, there'll be enough there probably still to put away in the fridge for tomorrow, maybe for lunch or for tomorrow evening. Some quick check of the messages. When did the chickpeas go in? Yeah, so Joe, the chickpeas just went in, drained, just straight out of a can, in with all the other ingredients. All right, so once the couscous is cooked, that's in. And the steaming couscous, should the steaming couscous be on the heat? No, it shouldn't. So once the couscous goes into the pan, yeah, turn the heat off. Yeah, because there'll be enough residual heat from that stock to cook the couscous. All right, so that will be done. Great stuff. So at this stage, let's just have a look at the vegetables. Let's see how they're getting on, i.e. the roasted vegetables. So I'm going to take them out of the oven. I'm just going to pop them onto the counter here, and let's see how they're doing. So here the veggies look. So they still need a little bit more time yet. And that's fine, because they're just going to be cooking away whilst we're chatting. So that's not a problem. These veggies are coming along well. The beetroot, I'd say, is probably just, it takes a little while longer. I'd say that's about 80% cooked, though. It should be, the beetroot. All right. So let's just go back into the oven with these and just leave them to keep cooking. Okay. So obviously the chicken and the vegetables that are marinated won't be anywhere near done yet, because they went in obviously a lot longer after. So that chicken's still going to take a good 20 minutes or so. If you can turn your heat up a little bit higher for the chicken in particular, then feel free to do so. But 200 fan should be more than enough for another sort of 15, 20 minutes to get that going. If you excuse me, I'm just going to quickly open my fast. Okay, so just give me 10 seconds. Dates, the best thing to open a fast with. Whilst we're talking about dates, actually, if you like dates or you purchase a lot of dates, just be careful and do check the label. The reason for that is a lot of the dates that in this country are unfortunately imported from Israel, and therefore go to back into the strengthen the economy yet further. So if you have a really good look on the boxes, there's a lot of Palestinian dates now available on the market. Particularly if you go to your South Asian superstores, there's lots there, and it'll say very clearly. I did see something on Instagram the other day that unfortunately some of these boxes are being marked as from Palestine, and they're not. But generally speaking, if you look online, go to a reliable source, and you go to your South Asian superstores, a lot of them will have dates that are genuinely from Palestine. These medjool dates, which are my favorite, are delicious. Okay, thank you for letting me do that. So, couscous is ready. Has anyone tried that, by the way, yet? Anyone had a little taste? Maybe people are still finishing up. If you have tasted it, or like I say afterwards, if you want to show me how it's looking when you plate it up, I'd love to see pictures of how that looks. So what you can do is, if you're not already following me on Instagram, and some of you may not have Instagram anyway, which is fine, so don't worry. But if you are on Instagram, I've just popped that into the chat function, so it's at Raheel Cooking. You can follow me there. You can post a picture. I'll comment on it. I'd love to see how you present it. I would love to get new ideas of how to present food. Jade saying, the couscous is delicious. I've never liked it before. Oh, that's great. Great feedback. For someone to like it and they've never liked it before, then I'm happy with that. Tasting it is awesome. Thank you, Jade. Gosh, you caught up quickly. I could see as well. Now, sorry, how do I pronounce your name? Is it Mooj or Muga? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Sorry. If you'd like to just come off mute, that would be great.
It's Muga.
Muga. How are you, Muga? You okay?
I'm good, thank you. Did you like my dates?
That's why I came to you. Because I saw you holding them up. So as you can see, Muga's got some there from Zaytoon. Again, a really great company. They've also sent me loads of olive oil to use and dates. And absolutely, if you go to Zaytoon, which Muga, if you have a chance, if you wouldn't mind typing it into the chat function for people, yeah, that'd be really great. Whereabouts are you, Muga? Where are you based?
I'm in London.
Great. And I presume you've done one of these with me before, have you?
This is my second one. And I have to admit, I'm not fasting. I just love Zaytoon dates.
That's okay. You can have dates anytime. You don't have to be fasting for it. I love dates. One of my favorite desserts is sticky toffee pudding. So yeah, I mean, dates are my one of my weaknesses, to be honest. Love them.
Yeah.
How's it turned out so far today? Have you been cooking along?
Pretty good, yeah. My husband's kindly tasting the couscous for me, so he's good. And everything else is still cooking. I've just given it a little move around and put it back in the oven.
Amazing. Oh, you're on top of it. You've looked pretty much chilled out throughout the process. So either you're really good at multitasking or you've got someone doing all the work for you.
I've got a commie chef, but I did prep everything beforehand. I did chop everything beforehand.
Excellent. And what's your name, sir?
Etem.
Etem?
Yes, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Seems like you're doing a grand job there in the background.
Yeah, lovely. I'm doing all the tasting.
Yeah, keep doing the tasting. That's the important thing.
Cheers, Luke.
Lovely to meet you both again. Keep going, and thank you for sharing that about Zaytoon as well.
Thank you. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you. So we've got someone's saying, let's just go back up here. So Jade is saying, where do I send the pic? So Jade, if you're on Instagram, I just popped it into the chat function. My Instagram handle is at Raheel Cooking. So you can drop me a picture there. I'd love to see how that looks. Adriana's saying the couscous tastes amazing. Never knew how to cook it. Well, there we go. You see, hopefully that's turned out great. Luke's saying it's the first time trying couscous for me and my partner. It's delicious. This is our third cook along with you from Pembrokeshire. I'm going to come and say hi in a minute, Lou. I was going to do that anyway, so just bear with me. And then Jade and Jack, this couscous is amazing. Oh, thank you. Joe's saying my Iraqi partner sniggers every time I say couscous. In his dialect, it's a bit smutty. All right, okay. So maybe I'm not pronouncing it correctly. But let me come and say hello to a couple more people. So Lou, did you want to come off mute and say a quick hi?
Never mind.
Hi,
Hi Lou, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How
I'm
are
glad
you?
you got the ingredients because I know you joined a little bit later and I was a bit panicky wondering whether you'd get them or not. So I'm glad you could join in.
Yeah, I sent my partner to the shop to get more.
Oh, good job, good job.
He
And
went shopping for me.
so this is the third one you're doing. So thank you so
Yeah.
much, first of all, for supporting Palestine. And you're also saying it's the first time trying couscous. So what do
Yeah,
you
I've never had it before. Never tried it. Really enjoying it though. My
Oh,
partner
good.
loves all sorts of veg and stuff like that, so he's really enjoying it. He's loving the new
Oh,
cookalongs.
amazing. Well, when you add the roasted vegetables in as well, it'll elevate it even further. So
Yeah.
you've got that to come yet. And what's been your favourite so far, would you say?
I quite like the last one, the butter chicken. I enjoyed that one, but I like the I can't say it, chicken
Mustachio.
muscan.
Yeah.
Yeah. My partner wasn't too keen on that one, but I really enjoyed it.
Great.
But yeah, I like butter chicken, I think the best.
You've done a few then now, which is amazing. So you've got quite a repertoire now going. So
I've got quite a spice collection going as well now.
yeah. Well, never have too many spices, I say, and
No.
they have a really good long shelf life as well. So I'm sure you'll get around to using them all.
Oh yeah, I'll show you the couscous.
Oh, look at that! That looks great.
Looking pretty good.
Looks great. Really nice, vibrant, really colourful. Great job, you guys. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look, hope you see you on another one. So keep
Oh,
going.
you will.
Thanks again, Lou.
Okay.
I can see Claire was just waving, and I know you're one of our newbies, aren't you? So come on and say hello, Claire.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Ah, yes, I can. How are you?
I just wanted to say that I live in a small town in Suffolk, and we did a benefit gig for MAP, for medical aid for Palestine recently. We raised £1,250, which I think is pretty damn good for a small,
amazing,
really. We had someone from the Palestine Children's Trauma Centre doing a slideshow and speech as well, and then lots of bands, and we all made Palestinian food. And then that was also, so people just gave donations for the food, etc. So if anyone, feels like it, it's a good idea, because I think we raised a lot for a small town, really. So, yeah.
That's amazing to hear. And that's a fantastic, phenomenal amount, like you say, for a small community to be able to do that. And most importantly, I guess, show that solidarity, but also to raise those funds. Really ingenious way of doing it. I think that's fantastic. I wish I was closer. I would come by to the next one if you're planning on doing
we're going to do another one. Are you in London?
Unfortunately, I'm up in, well, I say unfortunately, that sounds like I don't like it, but I live up in Sheffield.
Oh, right.
So,
yeah, it's quite a long way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a way, but I do travel up and down the country. So please do keep in touch. Are you on Instagram?
No, I'm only on Facebook or whatever.
That's okay. So again, if you type in my name, I'll put it into the chat function. And this is for everybody, actually. So if you just type in my name, Raheel Mirza, into Facebook, then you'll find me on there as well. So there's another way of contacting me if you wish. And yeah, I'd love to hear about that. But how have you found your first cook-along?
Yeah, it's fine. It smells a bit, yeah, it's fine. I think we made the peppers a bit too big, but apart from that, it's absolutely fine.
That's all right. And who do you have with you there in the background?
I have a friend called Maxwell here.
Hi, Maxwell. How are you?
He was doing the sound engineering, and he provided the PA for our gig. So, yeah.
Good job. Great stuff, Maxwell. Have you had a good time this evening doing this?
Yeah, loving it. Can't wait to eat it, man.
Looking forward to see any pictures. So again, as I was saying, even if you want to post a picture on Facebook, I'd love to see how you plate it up, what it looks like. You don't have to, but it's always nice to see it. So hopefully you've enjoyed your first one. And the other thing I would say, Claire and Maxwell, is in your small community, if you can spread the word, the more people that can join these, the better. So please get as many people as you can to join the next one, which I'll put on my Eventbrite page soon.
Yeah, well, thank you. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you. Okay, so let's have another little look at those vegetables, see how they're getting on. So I'm just going to put the camera down on the counter here. Let's see. glass is all terribly steamed up on that one. Okay, let's move that over. So again, these vegetables are almost done. Where's the beetroot? Is it cooking? Ah, yeah. So we're nearly there. So I think another 5 minutes for my veggies here, and they'll be ready to go. So some of you may have your vegetables already done. Some of those might be done already. So for example, if the courgette and the tomatoes are done, you can take those out and then leave the rest to cook. I'm just going to leave it all in together for a little bit longer. I like it when it goes a little bit more mushier anyway. So I'm going to pop those back in. In terms of the chicken, so that's the chicken that I've just taken out of the oven. Obviously, it's not cooked yet, and it's really hot. So I'm going to try and lift it up to the camera if I can. Not easy. There we go. So you can see it's just started to take on a little bit of a darker brown color on top. So that chicken's starting to cook through really nicely. I've obviously got much larger quantity here than you have anyway. The main thing with chicken is when it's cooked, if you give it another 5 or 10 minutes, when it's cooked and you break up a piece, obviously be careful, it'll be really hot, or just use a couple of forks to shred it. It should be opaque and white in the middle. Then you know it's cooked. If there's any sign of any pink color whatsoever, it needs to go back in to be cooked for longer. All right. So that's the main thing with chicken. So I'm just going to pop that back in the oven. So just bear with me. There we go. And so I'm just going to leave that to cook away for a little while longer now, because I'm doing a slightly larger quantity, in fact double, then that's probably going to take a little bit longer than you'll want to just be here watching me do that. So what I'm going to say is, if you just leave that to cook as I've instructed, the vegetables can then come out, be mixed in with the couscous, and then you can serve it on a plate with couscous on the side, the chicken or your vegetables over the top. And that's your tandoori chicken and or vegetables, and roasted vegetable couscous will be ready. Does anyone have any final questions before we do finish up for today then? Because obviously many of you may have cooked already and you might want to go off and eat. So if anyone's got any final questions, either pop it into the chat function or you can come off mute and let me know. And I'll just give you an update as well. We're just about to hit the £17,000 mark. So thank you again for those people who've donated this evening. We've added another, I think, 260 odd pounds to the amount this evening. So thank you to all of you who've donated. Oh, Alyssa, is that how I pronounce it? Alyssa. We are in Sheffield. Hey, you didn't know that. Where are you, Alyssa? Come on and say hi.
Hello.
Hello, I can't see you, but I can hear you. Oh, there we go. How are you?
Hi, I'm Elisa. This is my friend Pam, and we're at Pam's house in Crooks.
Where? Oh, in Crooks. Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm in Ecclesall, so I'm not far from you at all.
No, you're not. No, I've done all of them apart from buttered chicken, and they've all been absolutely delicious. And it's really nice to see everybody from all around the country and occasionally from other countries. It's been really good. Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, I'm glad you've stuck with it and you've tried more. And obviously,
Yeah, we've got our flag up as well. I don't know, can you see in the background?
Hey, I can see that. Excellent. Good for you. And keep spreading the word. The more, the merrier.
Yeah, we do. We've got other friends who have done them as well. I've got friends in Northern Ireland who've joined in, and yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's a big Irish contingent actually that have, as we know, big supporters of Palestine. So we've had lots of people joining these cookalongs as well. So that's fantastic. So yeah, keep spreading the word. And if you're around tomorrow, I presume you know where Nether Edge is.
Oh yes.
So I'm doing Nether Edge Farmers Market tomorrow. So if you're about, come and say hi, try some food.
I'm going to be out of Sheffield tomorrow, but I'm sure that our paths will cross at some point.
I'm sure it will.
We take part in the demonstrations down at the station, and anything that we can. There's been a great thing up at Crooks Club last week, and sort of Soul Night. That was really good too. So we're doing everything that we can.
Oh, great. Well, look, hopefully I will meet you soon. So yeah,
yes.
just and say hi. See if any events I'm doing.
Definitely will. Yeah. All the best to everyone.
Thank you for joining
Thank
in.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So Joe's saying couscous tastes lush, amazing. I love that. And Jay's saying I put the chicken with the roasted veg, but it smells amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. So that's fine. You can put them together. That's not a problem. So what I'm going to do, everyone, is I'm going to leave you to it this evening. Thank you so much for joining in. Continue to look out for future events, and I'll let you know what we're making next time soon. I'm not even decided that yet. So hopefully that will be posted in the next sort of day or two. So thank you once more. And yeah, I look forward to see those pictures. Take care, everyone. Good night. Bye. See you later. Thanks, Jade and Jack. Thanks, Alex. Thank you, Sophie. Also from Sheffield. Whereabouts? Thanks so much. Tastes amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah. Hope you all enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marge. Thanks for joining in again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All the way from Canada. Thank you. Right. See you later, everyone. I'm going to dial out.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Ingrid. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.